The sirens stopped at exactly noon. For 3 years they had ruled the city, howling warnings that sent people running underground, clutching children in prayers. But on that day, they simply cut off mid-cry, leaving behind a silence so heavy it pressed against the chest. Mara Levin stood in the doorway of the field hospital, unsure what to do with the quiet. She had learned to work through noise, through screams, explosions, and the endless clatter of stretchers. Silence felt unnatural, almost dangerous. She wiped her hands on her stained apron and looked down the road. Smoke still drifted lazily above the rooftops, but the sky was clear, a pale blue she had not seen in years. "Is it over?" a wounded soldier asked from behind her. Mara did not answer. In war, words like over were fragile things. She walked back inside the hospital, where rows of cots filled what had once been a school gymnasium. Chalkboards still hung on the walls, faded lessons trapped beneath layers of dust and blood. She paused at the last cot. Thomas Reed lay there, eyes open, breathing shallow but steady. He had arrived 2 weeks earlier, carried in with a shrapnel wound and a stubborn will to live. "You're still here," Mara said softly. "I was hoping you'd be the first face I'd see when the world ended." She shook her head, though a small smile escaped her. "You soldiers always think the world revolves around you, and you nurses keep it turning," he replied. They had not spoken much at first. There had been no time. But in stolen moments, between bandages and midnight rounds, they had shared pieces of themselves. He told her about the river near his childhood home, how it froze every winter. She told him about her mother's bakery, destroyed in the first year of the war. Outside, a distant bell rang once, then again. Mara froze. Bells were not used during war, not unless something had changed. She stepped outside. People were emerging from basements and shelters, blinking in disbelief. Some laughed nervously, others simply stood, as if afraid the moment would shatter. A man ran down the street shouting, "The ceasefire's been signed!" The words rippled through the crowd like a held breath finally released. Inside the hospital, cheers erupted. Someone began to cry. Someone else prayed. Mara returned to Thomas's cot. "It might really be over," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. He studied her face carefully. "And when it is—" She hesitated. The future felt like an unopened door. "I don't know who I am without the war." Thomas reached for her hand. His grip was weak, but certain. "Then we'll find out together." That night, the city did not sleep. Fires burned, not from bombs, but from warmth. Music drifted through broken windows. For the first time in years, no one ran when a truck backfired. Weeks later, Thomas learned to walk again. Mara helped him take his first steps in the courtyard, where weeds grew through cracks in the concrete. "Looks like the city's healing," he said. "So are we," she replied. The sirens never sounded again. But sometimes, when the wind moved just right, Mara thought she could still hear them, fading echoes of a world that had nearly forgotten how to hope. And every time she did, she held Thomas's hand a little tighter, grateful that silence, at last, meant peace.